Breathe in. Hold and breathe out. Clear your mind of distraction and absorb the warmth of relaxation as it builds inside you. Or something along those lines. Whether it's Zen, chakra, yoga, or the use of an isolation float tank, meditation comes in many forms and has made its way from the fringe to the mainstream. As many people will attest to, meditation can be life-changing. From anxiety and concentration issues to chronic back pain relief, the benefits of meditation are touted as being both psychological and physical. As such, it's big business nowadays. Some will call it pseudoscience, while those who have enjoyed the benefits of a lifestyle that includes disciplined meditation will swear by its legitimacy. So, how do we know what form of meditation is right for us? Just what forms of meditation are out there, and if we want to, how can we get started? Hey Calgary, I'm Kevin Chorney. I'm joined tonight by Angelica Janak, a local yoga instructor representing 7th Chakra. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much for having me.
And Dustin Ryan from Float Life. I understand you're a partner with Float Life, is that right?
Yeah, correct, yeah.
Awesome, awesome. It's a cool business down in Kensington. We'll get to it. Real quick though, if you would, Angelica, tell us a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about myself. Well, back in 2008, I attended Vancouver Film School, so I have a background in the film arts and the television arts. And then it led me toward yoga.
Really?
How? I have no
Yeah,
idea.
bizarre. Okay.
It just kind of led me toward the holistic art
Yeah.
and the art of living. So I attended an ashram down in India for about a month, came back to Calgary, Alberta in 2009, opened up a small mobile business, and then have been working with 7th Chakra for a good 5-6 years now.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this sounds clearly your passion.
Yes.
Big part of your life.
Yes.
Awesome, thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
Dustin, tell us a bit about what you do at Float Life.
All right, for sure. Yeah, so we're a float center, like you mentioned, down in Kensington. And so we offer flotation therapy. So what that entails is that we have these pods that are 8.5 feet by 5.5 feet with 11 inches of water and 1,200 pounds of Epsom salts.
A lot of salt.
So it's an amazing experience. People are able to float effortlessly on top of the water,
Yeah.
take all the pressure off their muscles and joints, and just kind of escape the chaos of everyday life. And
Cool,
fun. Yeah.
cool. And you guys are clearly pretty busy.
Yeah, for sure. It's, so we've been open for just over a year now.
Yeah.
And yeah, more and more people are
It's actually
hearing
the
about
word
us
is
and
spreading.
floating,
Hopefully
so,
we can spread
yeah,
a bit more tonight.
for sure.
Angelica, I'd like to start with you. Other than helping me look good naked, what's yoga going to do for me?
Oh my gosh, yoga has an unlimited amount of benefits. Everything from the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, to the psychological. So yoga is basically designed to shape your life to that of what you've dreamed of. So it brings your dreams into reality through mindfulness practice and through mindfulness being just daily around the clock. So it's really a lifestyle.
So as far as like the different types of yoga, I mean, we've got yoga that would focus on breathing, strength training. I mean, how wide is the gamut?
These are good questions because there's an unlimited amount of types of
Is that
yoga.
right?
So there's hatha yoga if people want to focus a little bit more on slowing their heart rate down, focusing on breath,
Okay.
focusing on that retention. There's things like the hot yoga, as everybody knows, especially in Calgary. It's
Pretty
really
popular,
booming.
yeah,
It's
definitely.
huge. So that's good for, of course, weight loss, for increasing metabolism, and for helping to open up different parts within the body,
Yeah.
focusing on connective tissue. One of my favorite is Kundalini, which is focused around breath.
Okay, Kundalini. So this sounds like more of the yoga geared towards like a mental well-being. Is that
Yes.
fair to say?
So it's really closely related to the chakras within the person's body,
Yeah.
and it helps to open up the mind. So it links meditation strongly.
The chakra.
Chakra.
Sorry, I'm a total layman. Can you get into and just explain a little bit
Yeah,
about
of
what
course.
is chakra?
So there's a bunch of energy points throughout our spine.
Yeah.
A lot of people know it as acupressure points, different parts of the body that gets operated by energy centers. So these
Okay.
are located within the spine.
Yeah.
People know them as colors, visualizations through meditation practice. So if I could explain it a little bit further, it's basically a whirling vortex of energy.
That sounds pretty rock and roll.
Yeah,
A
it's
whirling
awesome.
vortex of energy.
Yeah.
Okay, so during my, I guess, my time in the yoga studio, I'm harnessing that energy. I'm pinpointing different points of that energy for, yes?
Yes.
And okay. As far as like strength training, there's yoga that's specific just to building muscle, is that correct?
Of course. So that's known as flow yoga or power yoga.
Okay.
So that's something that's geared more toward focusing on cardio, focusing on that strength training, on isometric postures, and also it links a little bit of breath, but not as much. So that's tailored more around people within recreation centers, gyms, and it's focused more around that type of audience.
Cool. You really do cover the whole gamut with yoga.
Oh,
that's amazing.
It's huge.
We're going to jump to a quick break and check in with the Rant Pack. Folks, stay with us.
I feel like we don't, as a society, meditate enough. I mean, I'm definitely guilty of stressing out on a regular basis. And we don't technically have enough cathartic means, I think, in terms of, releasing our emotions and what have you. I think that meditation is extremely important to live a rounded lifestyle. Just because there's so many stressors in our daily lives that we need, whether it be a release or just a way of getting away. I think meditation, whether that be in form of float chambers or yoga or running or cycling, I mean, we all meditate in different ways. I think, we hear more and more about all of these new ideas and everything like that. Like these float chambers and everything. I think they're more of a fad, but I mean, whatever works. If it works for you, use it.
So Dustin, you're clearly banking on the fact that Jay's wrong. It's going to be a fad. It's not going to be a fad, obviously, in your point of view. Floating, I'm talking about. Meditation-wise, do you think there is room for everybody to be meditating in their lives?
Well, of course there's room, and floating is just a great entry point. Because I think people find meditation quite intimidating.
Can be, sure.
They don't know how to do it. They don't know what they're doing. So the float tank just gives them an opportunity to be by themselves without any distractions, for 90 minutes. A lot of people will come out, just looking completely refreshed, rejuvenated. Other people are kind of like, what happened in there?
Oh, yeah,
and they're trying to figure out what the experience was. But yeah, it's just a great entry point,
You guys were kind enough to have me down. I was in the tank for about 90 minutes, apparently. I mean, time for me was crazy. Flew right by. The experience, was it's definitely different. You are in an environment that you're not commonly in. I mean, it's pitch black, for one thing. Obviously, to be able to float is foreign to most people. I kind of found my mind wandering. But there is those points where you do kind of just have a glimpse of that clarity. Is that sort of the end game? Is that the goal, to be in that tank, or is it different for each individual?
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily think that there's a goal per se. I think anytime you have a goal, especially with meditation, I find it's extremely difficult.
Is that right?
Right. So like when people are like, "Oh, I couldn't shut off my mind," it's like, well, you're thinking about trying to shut off your mind. Like that's the problem. So sometimes I'll go in there with the intention of just trying to think of everything, and ironically, those are the times where, my mind just shuts off and I go, where was I for 10 minutes? I don't think I was asleep, and you're kind of in that more theta state. But yeah, I think it's just different for everyone, like what you're trying to get out of it. But I think anytime you can put your body out of, a crazy environment that we live in, get away from the traffic, get away from the office, all the electronics, and, really kind of escape and have 90 minutes to yourself, I don't see anything.
So it sounds like a win-win.
It really, for sure.
You agree? Do you think that technology is sort of driving people towards things like, heading over to Float Life or to Seventh Chakra for some yoga?
100%. 100%. We're basically designed to have that form of communication, that form of touch when we're interacting with people. And it seems like more as time goes by, technology is kind of getting in the way. Of course, there's positives to technology, but sometimes there's a huge gap in being able to connect with people. So I personally find that meditation, maybe even the float tank, and yoga is a form of reconnecting.
Reconnecting, I like that. It's funny though, it's almost ironic. I mean, you think about people that are heading out to yoga, people that are utilizing Float Life. The internet, technology in itself has really helped spread the word of the benefits of these sorts of activities and treatments. A name that comes to mind would be Joe Rogan, who's got a podcast. He's if you're not familiar with Joe Rogan, he's just Google him. Help yourself out. Really popular guy, does podcasts on a host of subjects, but he was big on floating as well. It continues to be. Was that? Do you think you can attribute a bit of your business to personalities like Joe Rogan?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think he's single-handedly driving the industry.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I mean, he's got, I think at this point he's got maybe 10 million followers. And then, through word of mouth, I mean, we're talking about him right now, right? Yeah. So, I mean, that just gets compounded exponentially. And yeah, I mean, he's been advocating it since early 2000s. So it's been a long time. He has one in his house, and he's constantly talking about it on his podcast and just what it's done for his mind, for his body. And
just to get Joe Rogan's take on it, he says here, it's pure mind, the mind with no connection to input, and that's one of the rarest states on earth. Mm-hmm. Having been in the chamber, I think it's probably pretty easy to agree with that. Mm-hmm. Who's coming in to float? What's the average demographic, or is there?
It's all over the map. So we've had people as young as 12, as old as 78. Yeah. And it's just a whole bunch of. Oh yeah, exactly. There is the Joe Rogan crowd that are
the bros, right?
Yeah, well, that are
25 to 35.
Yeah, for sure. That are into kind of self-improvement, and they just want to have a really cool experience, and they're super gung ho. And then we have the busy mom that just wants to get away from the kids, just wants to kind of escape.
That should be the main clientele, I would think.
It is for sure. We have a lot of women that like to come and float together. Okay. They'll bring a friend, and they'll share the experience, and then they'll enjoy some tea afterwards. And
it's cool.
Yeah, just make the day of it.
Same question, yoga. I mean, who's your average person walking through the door?
You can't even pick an average. Yeah. I would have to agree, because I've taught kids to teens to people in their 70s as well. So it all varies down to, honestly, I noticed the time of day. Really? 6 a.m. usually the workers come in before heading into downtown. Yeah. Noon is usually the stay-at-home moms who need that time away from their kids. Yeah. 6 o'clock hour, the fathers come in. You know what I mean? So it depends on the time of the day.
So, I mean, it seems Calgary's a pretty good fit for these businesses, these meditative activities. I mean, boom or bust, what is it about our city you think that drives people? Is it the stress? Is Calgary unique by any means as far as people seeking meditative activities?
I think Calgary is very open, and it's unique that way. We have a diverse amount of individuals that are becoming more and more vulnerable in that fact of opening themselves up to different realms, I guess, if I could put it. And it seems like, especially in today's economic time, they're welcoming that kind of holistic way of being.
That's interesting. Would you agree with that, Dustin?
Yeah, I would, for sure. I can just speak to, let's say, the float industry.
Yeah, of course.
It really is growing everywhere. I think that Canada, for sure, it's probably growing faster, especially in Vancouver. Vancouver and Calgary, you see some of the most open-minded people. But I was just on the phone with one of our suppliers from England, and he's talking about opening up, a bunch of centers all throughout England, Ireland, Sweden. Yeah. So it really is taking off all over the place.
Interesting stuff. Folks, we're going to jump to another Rant Pack break. Stick with us.
Meditation, as far as it coming back into a fad, is a very, very old technique. However, in this day and age, I do think it's kind of necessary for people to completely shut themselves off. Whether it's going for a run with no phone, that's a form of meditation. Whether it's sitting on your couch cushion humming like they do in Tibet, that's meditation. The whole idea of meditation is to take your brain off a complex task, do a very menial task so the rest of your brain can relax. The isolation chamber thing's a little bit interesting. I think a lot of friends and people that I know would actually go crazy because they have to sit there by themselves with no other outside communication, and I think it's actually a good thing.